Rabbi Aharon Leib Shteinman was one of the preeminent leaders of the Haredi world in the late 20th and early 21st centuries who helped mold the Haredi community in Israel and direct it through the vicissitudes of modernity. As a leader, he was guided by the desire to protect his flock from the blandishments of the outside world, but declined to oppose those parts of his community who began to engage with the demands of the state by entering the workforce, higher education, and the army. Be the first to know. Join our Facebook page. Function D S ID var JS FJS equal D get elements batag name S 0 if D get element bid ID return JS equal D createlment S JS.id equal ID JSSRC equal / connect facebook.net/n_us/all JS number XFBML equal 1 and app ID equal 1634148068997 FJS parent node insert before JS FJS document script Facebook JS SDK. It is for this position that he will be remembered, and although he strongly discouraged such trends, he did not seek to hold them back, thereby allowing them to develop and take root, and thereby come to a certain accommodation with the needs of the modern state of Israel. Shteinman was born in the city of Brest, in what is now Belarus, and which was then part of the Russian Empire, with the exact year of his birth somewhat disputed, but either 1913 or 1914 he studied in yeshiva in Brest and was a student of Rabbi Yitzhak Zev Soloveitchik, known as the Brisker Rabbi, whose studying and teaching methods he would remain close to throughout his life. In order to avoid military conscription in 1937 in Poland, which by that time controlled Brest, Shteinman and a friend escaped to Montreux, Switzerland, where they continued their studies in the Etzheim yeshiva in the town. Shteinman married in 1943 while still living in Switzerland, and came to Israel in 1945 after the end of the Second World War. Settling initially in Petah Tikva, he became close with the Chazon Ish, Rabbi Avraham Yeshaya Karelitz, who was then the leading Torah figure of the generation, and the latter appointed Shteinman to head a yeshiva in Kfar Saba. He eventually moved to Bnei Brak and in 1955 was appointed head of the Yeshiva Ketana, yeshiva for high school-aged boys, at Ponevezh Yeshiva, one of the most prestigious yeshivas in the world by Yeshiva Dean Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Kahaneman, and then head of the Ponevezh Kollel, yeshiva for married men, in 1964. At this juncture, and slightly before, Shteinman would take up one of the most important missions of his life, promoting Torah study as the sole occupation for a Haredi man. The Chazon Ish had himself been instrumental in promoting this ideal, and Shteinman sought to advance it more practically on the ground. In the 1950s and early 1960s, it had been extremely rare for Haredi men to spend their entire lives studying in Kollel, since it was simply not financially viable. In 1953, when the Chazon Ish died, there were only 1,240 yeshiva students who obtained a military service deferral due to being in full-time yeshiva study. So Shteinman strove to open more kollels for married men to continue their yeshiva studies, to make entrance to kollel easier in terms of the standards required, and to raise money from donors in order to make yeshiva study a viable financial option. In the 1980s, the dynamic and vigorous Rabbi Menachem Eliezer Manshak had become the head of the Lithuanian community, and formed the Degel HaTorah political party in 1988, splitting from Hasidic-controlled Agudat Yisrael.